because of my experience as a volunteer with Mother Teresa. So that's why I chose to do something very different. I don't like to talk too much about it. I'd much rather do about it. 4 million children aged 4 to 14 who should be going to school. It doesn't look like the quality education is going to come from the government. Why don't we start schools? And that's how Parikrma started. One of the things that I learned from working in Nirmal Hriday with Mother Teresa was to manage to do a lot with very little.
So would it be right to say that Parikrma is not just imparting education, knowledge or wisdom, but it's actually doing a mind shift?
Absolutely. You've just hit the nail on the head. You don't always have to do great things. If you do small things with great love, then you will have made a difference. It would be kind of a common expectation for me to say that this is a man's world and it was difficult to cope in a man's world.
I'm sure that your children are not just transforming their own lives, but they are changing their entire ecosystem.
It's stupid to have a brochure. I'd say my children are my brochure. You come and meet them, that kind of thing. Don't get limited into roles of either a daughter, daughter-in-law, wife, or a mother. That's very limiting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You are much more than just roles. You are a person. When I worked in Nirmal Hriday with Mother Teresa, I realized also how helpless and vulnerable the humankind can be. I breathe deep breaths and then say, okay, is this the end? And I tell myself it can't be.
Hi, I'm Vijayashree Parameswaran. Welcome to the SHE.E.O effect. What happens when a high-flying CEO, responsible for multi-billion-dollar markets across Asia and China, decides to walk away from the corner office to solve one of the world's most complex problems? Today, we are joined by a woman who doesn't just run schools, she builds futures. Dr. Shukla Bose, the founder of Parikrma Humanity Foundation, has maintained less than 1% dropout rate in communities where the norm is 70%. She's not just teaching children, she's investing in them, moving entire families out of the slums of Bangalore and into the global workforce. From volunteering with Mother Teresa to leading international corporations, Shukla's life is a masterclass in resilience, innate wisdom, and the sheer power of refusing to be limited by gender or age. Get ready to have your perspective on leadership and impact completely redefined. Welcome, Shukla. Welcome to the SHE.E.O effect.
Thank you so much for having me here.
It's wonderful to have you here. I'm curious, you have spent in your entire career of 26 years, 11 years as a corporate CEO, and you walked away from that position to start something totally different. What was the motivation behind starting Parikrama?
Well, the real trigger was dissatisfaction with what was happening around me. I felt I needed to do something. People thought that I was doing very well in my career and I had kind of arrived. But I felt some kind of a gap somewhere, a vacuum, and I needed to correct it. So I thought it's best that I experiment and see what lies out there. I decided to get into the social sector because of my experience as a volunteer with Mother Teresa. So that's why I chose to do something very different.
You mentioned that Mother Teresa was one of the best CEOs you have worked with, and Nirmal Hriday as a program has taught you a lot. What is that lesson which you would call as the best lesson that you will even not even get it in an MBA program? What would that be?
One of the things that I learned from working in Nirmal Hriday with Mother Teresa was to manage to do a lot with very little. I keep doing that even in Parikrma. To leverage whatever opportunities you have and make sure that you give your 100% to make it succeed. When I worked in Nirmal Hriday with Mother Teresa, I realized also how helpless and vulnerable the humankind can be if we don't work together, if there is no empathy. And in Nirmal Hriday, we would pick up abandoned, destitute children, women who had been abandoned by their family members only because either they were too sick or too old or the family was unable to take care of them. That really shook my foundation of belief in the humankind. And I felt that whoever can, whatever way they can, must help the most vulnerable.
Beautiful. That's a great work you're doing out there. And you said you quit your high-profile CEO, the corner office, right? Which is not easy to let go. And you started this because you found a gap. Did you feel that gap getting fulfilled here?
It is too big a gap that I can fill. But I think the reward I get is every single child that I work with turns around, transforms, and leads a better life. I've always believed, and maybe that was the influence of Mother Teresa, where she would say, you don't always have to do great things. If you do small things with great love, then you will have made a difference. I've always believed in that. I will not be able to, I'm no one to fill any gaps, but I will do my bit.
Mm.
And if the gaps get filled little by little on its own, that's the reward. But that's not necessarily my ambition.
Do you think that Parikrama has got its due visibility? Does the world know about Parikrama well enough?
Strange that you asked this question because that is a question or a conversation I have with most people. When they come to a parikrama school or when they hear or interact with some of the students of parikrama, employers of parikrama students keep telling me that, it's amazing how transformed these children are because they think differently. Thinking differently is very important for us, not to get trapped in the poverty mindset. They say that when they come and visit the school or interact with their children, they say, my God, Parikrama is doing so much, but we didn't really know about it. And I think the gap is a communication gap. Just the other day, I was telling someone, is that, really, I don't like to talk too much about it. I'd much rather do about it. So NGOs like us are often pushed to promote ourselves,
Okay.
to let the whole world know what a good job we are doing. I wish we didn't have to invest time in doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we just kept doing what we have to do. But unfortunately, the real world
Yeah.
pushes us to think of branding, strategizing, and communicating.
However, I'm going to ask you to share a little bit about Parikrama and the good work you do for our audience to know. Not for your branding or not to tell the world that there is an NGO like this, but that beautiful thought behind that movement, right? You started it with your humble savings, whatever you had. And you said, I do not know whether it's a strategic leap or a faith that I had. I started it and with an intention. And it's good to share that intention and that beautiful empathy, compassion you bring to the children. I would love for you to share that for our audience.
I think a lot of us do not know that India is the largest education system in the world. Okay, we have 1.5 million schools, 8.7 million teachers, which is larger than China. We have 274 million children aged 4 to 14 who should be going to school. And we should feel proud about it, right? But the sad story is only 30 million children ever complete school. Now, I began asking this question. Why does it happen that way? I mean, we keep talking about it, isn't it? 3% of the world's population own 80% of the
Yeah.
wealth. We talk about it, but I wanted to go beyond the numbers. And I'd say, who are these people that are being left out? And so I began walking through the slums. Even while I was at work, a corporate CEO, I would sort of go incognito. And I was kind of horrified to see their living conditions. And I felt that, I've got to do something about it. First thing is give myself time. And therefore, I quit my corporate job. Or whatever savings I had. And I was considered to be a fairly wealthy woman, not an industrialist, but a high paid professional. And so with whatever money I had, I started Parikrma from my kitchen table. I didn't have an office at that time. It was very important. It was one of the most wisest strategic decisions I took of not going to ask anyone for money till I had something to show. I think I can tell people that I believe in working with plan A and not having a plan B. Because, when you have a plan B, you're also leaving an option for yourself
Yeah.
for the A to fail. And I say it can't fail. Can you believe Bangalore, which is considered to be the Silicon Valley of the country, when I started Parikrma 22 years ago, had 850 slums. Today, we have 1,274 slums.
Wow.
They are small pockets of people living in absolute desperate conditions, hardly any proper sewage system, water supply. That's the kind of slums we're working with. I realized that the only way you can transform this whole life, their way of living, is by giving them quality education. And I said, it doesn't look like the quality education is going to come from the government. Why don't we start schools? And that's how Parikrama started. The
Beautiful.
first school was on a rooftop inside the slums, Vivek Nagar slums,
Oh.
and which is in Koramangala. And Koramangala is considered to be a high-end
Yeah.
living residential area. I decided that we would start our first school on the rooftop 22 years ago with 165 children, 11 staff members,
Wow.
because it was important to get started.
Yeah.
I'm very clear about that. Is if the academic year begins in June, even Parikrama must begin in June.
Okay.
Even if our school physically isn't ready, we will just start everywhere, because it was important for the community to know that we are serious, that we were professional. So timekeeping was extremely important.
Be it any student, right? I know you are doing it with a lot of purpose, cause, and there's an impact that you're creating. However, how do you maintain this less than 1% dropout rate? I'm really surprised because you're still dealing with young minds and evolving minds.
Everybody talks about it. It's much written about. Our less than 1% dropout, 96 to 97% attendance, which is kind of unheard of,
Yes.
especially from this community of daily wage labor, where parents would like their children to get pulled out to work and earn some money. I mean, any good school should be where children want to go, right? Any good school should give children good memories. right?
True.
So if you focus on that and make the school a loving, nurturing place where children would love to come, they come. And all parents, however poor they may be, however desperate their living conditions may be, want their children to lead a better life than them.
Absolutely.
All parents. So when they see that their children are very happy to go to school every morning, not crying. No, and no, they're not being forced. In fact, they wake up their parents to go to school. Their parents feel good and do not want to pull their children out. It's a very simple thing, actually, is to create a loving, inviting, attractive, engaging environment in the school, which keeps the children coming every day and engaged fruitfully every day.
So, would it be right to say that Parikrama is not just imparting education, knowledge, or wisdom, but it's actually doing a mind shift change?
Absolutely. You've just hit the nail on the head. What is true education? True education is not giving the child the ability to read and write only. True education is opening up the world for the child, getting the child to understand there's so much out there and get excited to know more, right? And true education is to be able to feel that I have a right to be there and I have the ability to be there. So it is very important to inculcate in children, especially the children that come from marginalized homes, that they can, and I tell everyone that you can do. So don't find limits for yourself. Everybody has the ability to break all glass ceilings.
Yeah, I love hearing that. And I'm from what I hear and what I can understand from the experience of seeing transformations. I'm sure that your children are not just transforming their own lives, but they're changing their entire ecosystem, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Would you? I would love for you to share some of the success stories.
There are two elements about the Parikrma model, and I'd call that the Parikrama model. It's called the 360-degree program and the E2E program. Now, the 360-degree program is where we say a child cannot study well, pay attention to his teacher or her teacher if she or he is hungry, right? Or if she or he is unwell. Those little fine tuning details do not necessarily happen in a government school. The child just doesn't come. Here, what we do is we give all children 3 meals a day. They come, or most of our kids don't get anything to eat at home when they leave home.
Oh.
And so we give them breakfast, we give them lunch, we give them a glass of protein mix with snacks before they go back home. We try and give more than 88% of the calories required in the day in school itself and don't want to leave anything for and chance to chance. We take care of the entire health of the child from vaccination, inoculations to hospitalization, because these are small things that a child from the slum gets deprived of. Then, very important thing is we take care of the family. How do we take care of the family? Is by giving them stability through counseling, through financial literacy program, for vocational skill training program. So our parents are earning much more today than they did when their child was admitted in kindergarten. Okay, so it is giving them quality education, which I would say equal education. Okay, we follow the CBSE curriculum till grade 8, and then we shift to the state level exam, and our children do very well. 99% of our children get through the grade 10 exams, sail through the grade 10 exams.
Beautiful.
Okay. 95% of our children go to university. It's unheard of. Nobody in their family has been to college before. Forget about, not been to school at all, and forget about college. So suddenly they have college going children in the community.
Yes.
So healthcare, total healthcare, 3 meals a day, and the community support that we give. 98% of our fathers are alcoholics. 92% of our children have someone in their family in jail. So we are not talking about just poor families. We are talking about dysfunctional families. So we have to really intervene very strongly with a lot of heart and lot of skill to make the family stable. Okay. We send the fathers for de-addiction program. We do health checkups of the entire family and try and preempt any kind of long-term diseases. Because sometimes in a family like this where the earning is about 10,000 rupees to 15,000 rupees per month with 5 people to feed, it's a big struggle.
Yeah, it's very hard.
When we started, the average income of the households were about 3 to 4,000 rupees per month.
Oh, okay.
Now that has gone up. Now our families are earning a lot more. Most of our mothers are actually single mothers. We have given them the confidence, given them the strength to stand up, fight against domestic abuse, fight against child marriages. They are taking a stand in the community. The other element, as I said, is the E2E program. We get our children at age 5 and we take care of them till age 25, from one end to the other end. So
Okay.
it's not like we run a school, children come to our school, and then we wash up our hands. No, we support them, we nurture them, we handhold them till they are placed in jobs.
And would it be right to say that is what is the key behind the sustainable social change and impact that you're having?
A very powerful element
Isn't it?
that makes sure we have a program called Final Leap,
Hmm.
where after the children graduate from school and then go to our own junior college, we actually help them to get admissions. We find scholarships for them to go to universities. So I have had students go to IIM Bangalore, National Law School, University of Michigan, University of Chicago. We have encouraged them and wherever possible, helped them with finances. That itself is our success story.
Absolutely.
Our success story is also the kind of jobs our children are getting. I have a student who runs restaurants outside the country. I have a banquet manager in Australia. I have a student who has a fitness studio in Bangkok. They are entrepreneurs and they are choosing very interesting professions.
Yeah.
We are not creating, clerks or receptionists only. We are creating business minded people who have the ability to hire others to work for their organization. It's unheard of, actually, to think of it. Even I get goosebumps thinking
Yeah.
of it.
Totally.
I have a student who is now becoming a very famous film star in the Kannada screen. Yeah.
Amazing.
We believe that we've given them the liberty. I have architects, I have interior designers, I have students going to Shrishti Academy. So it's encouraging them to, think out of the box, make a
Yeah.
paradigm shift in the careers,
Hmm.
that they have never been familiar with in the past.
How many teachers do you have?
Okay, altogether we have about 210 teachers, and I'm so proud to say that 33 of my students are my teachers. They've come
Wow.
back,
Ah,
they graduated, they got their degrees, they tried different professions,
and they
and
come back
and
to
and
Parik.
they are teaching in Parikrma.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah, and one of my school principals is one of my students.
This is all beautiful, Shukla. However, I know that what is seen outside is different. What you have to go through, the behind the scene is not that easy, right? What I would like to touch in that aspect is, as a woman who started this, how did you manage to build this to scale? What were the challenges that you had to navigate?
It would be kind of a common expectation for me to say that this is a man's world and it was difficult to cope in a man's world. But I think that's not exactly the the response that I'd like to give. I mean,
Okay.
I have never really considered man's world, women's world, whatever. I've just done whatever I had to do. But the challenge has been, of course, this work-life balance, which seems to be a kind of a much quoted term today. Um, it is true that women do have to take care of their families, and they don't do it because they're forced to do it. They do it out of choice. The challenges of being a woman in the kind of work that I did before and the kind of work that I do now, or the challenges of this kind of work. Again, as I began saying, I have to keep talking about how good we are. I'd like people to come and see how good we are.
Yeah.
I'd like them to experience us. And I don't like to have to. I don't even have a brochure. I don't have a brochure because it's stupid to have a brochure. I'd say my children are my brochure. You come and meet them, that kind of thing. The challenge is to get people's interest in supporting programs like this. The challenge is to make people believe that this kind of change is possible. The challenge is, therefore, to make them invest in programs such as ours. In India, we are still in that charity mindset,
Mm.
you know, where people feel comfortable, feel good giving outfits that are desperate, that have, crying pictures because it makes them feel that they have done something substantial. We don't have that.
Mm.
Even if we are desperate and really stretch for funds, we never have our children feel deprived.
Okay.
And I think that is very important. I will never have any of my children have a sad picture.
Mm.
Our picture is of hope, of promise, of potential, and people must believe in that. Often, what happens when they come and meet my kids, and my kids are, so buoyant, they are so full of life. Many people might think they don't need help,
Mm.
but they do, because what we are trying to do is make them forget where they have come from.
Mm.
We don't need to keep hanging where they have come from. Yes, in school you are just a student, like any student. You have great potential, and my role as running the school is to unleash that potential,
Mm.
and that's what I'll keep trying to do. But people have to see that whatever we did for our own children, we
Mhm.
must do for these kids.
Yeah.
We learned how to work with very little but give great joy.
I'm not surprised because when I asked you about how many children you have, you said 2000 without a hesitation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they are my kids. They are
Yeah.
really
That's
my
what you
kids.
said.
Yeah.
You said people were scared of you. You don't believe in glass ceiling. And how did that help you in navigate into a perceived man's world?
See, at the end, with irrespective of gender, your commitment, your ability to work hard, your expertise counts. That is what has to stand out, irrespective of a man's world, women's world, whatever. If you know your stuff,
Yeah.
if you show the right attitude, if you have the right, goals and have chosen the right pathways, nothing can stop you.
Yeah.
And I've never ever felt that I was in any way inadequate or inferior, not because I was arrogant, but because I didn't allow anything to sort of come in the way or stop me.
Hmm.
I think one of my personality traits I have been told is being confident, but also have some humility. I've managed to thankfully manage to combine both together, which has helped me. And I learned that from Mother Teresa.
Yes.
I learned that. I mean, she was very sure about what she wanted, but she did it with great amount of humility. I wish I could be as humble as her. I try every day, but I'm getting there. Hopefully, getting there.
I love the way your early that social work that you did has shaped you and shaped what you have brought to the world, right? And all this is not easy, Shukla. It's not easy. I can see the amount of time, energy, effort that would have gone from you to build what you have built.
Yeah.
How did you manage that without a mom guilt coming in your way?
I have don't give up spirit with me. So, whatever the problem may be, whatever the challenges at home or at work may be, I've always tried to find a way out. I've never ever felt guilty for giving my best at my work, whether it was corporate or social work. Because I've brought up my daughter in a manner where she and thinks it is very natural for women
Hmm?
to be working and in senior positions. She herself is in one, and empower other women to do that. She's never made me feel guilty. I've never felt guilty. I think it's very important. I keep telling my teachers, I have 210 of them, and I keep telling my teachers, don't get limited into roles
Mhm.
of either a daughter, a daughter-in-law, wife, or a mother. That's very limiting.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
are much more than just roles. You are a person, and understand the personhood in you, and don't create limitations that aren't there, because all those limitations are figments of the mind. I really believe that all this glass ceiling and, gateways that we talk about are all in the mind.
I love that. I love that. Understand the personhood behind you. That's something to carry or take away today, Shukla. That's a beautiful statement that you made. I also want to ask you, was there any reverse mentoring or empowerment that happened from your child to you,
Reverse mentoring.
or reverse empowerment? There are times when your children also empower you, right? Beyond us
Yeah,
trying to do that to them.
I think my children are my best teacher. I learn so much from them. I learn that it is so important to live in the moment and to find joy in everything. I've learned how to share from my children. They have so little, but they whatever they have, they share. It is very important for all of us to learn from children like this, that you don't have to have a lot to share. You can share whatever you have. I think sharing is something that I've learned from my children. I'll give you an example. One of my friends wanted to came to school and said, I'd love to give your kids something. Can I buy them some chocolates? I said, sure, give them chocolates. So she brought slabs of chocolate to give to each one of them. And then she found that they were not eating it.
Hmm.
Okay. And she said, Shukla, you said they love chocolates. I said, they love chocolates,
Hmm.
but let's ask them. And they said, I want to share it with my sister, brother at home. So they were holding on to the chocolate to take it home to share it with their
How
family.
sweet. Yeah.
Okay. So I said, I had to tell them, look, chocolates can't be shared like this. We'll give you chocolates to take home, but you eat this. Okay. Because it'll melt in your
Yeah, in your
hand.
hand, yes.
We lead very selfish lives today, right? We have created little, insulated ourselves and lead very selfish lives. So we feel, when I talk to young people, they say, let me make a lot of money and then I'll start giving. And I say, you don't need to do that. You can do it today. Whatever you have,
Yeah,
just keep a little aside. Just keep a little aside for someone who
that's
is
all
less
is needed.
fortunate. So I think I have learned that from my children.
Beautiful.
Sharing is something, not giving up is something I've learned from my children. They're pretty resilient. They just get up. For them, today is the most important day. Mother Teresa would say that. Always leave the window open if the doors are closed. You never know how opportunity can walk in through that window. So the kids do that. They always find a way out of things. And gratitude, that's also something I've learned from my kids. They are grateful, but of course I have to tell you, Shri, that we have to encourage
Mm.
this. It doesn't come, it comes automatically. It's there in them, but modern living, selfish living puts a cap on it. We have to encourage it.
Can't stop myself from asking this, Shukla. Absolutely, you don't look 70, right? Is it because you're just working with so many kids that you have maintained your youth? Because it seems like there is a lot of reverse learning that is coming, and I think even the youth is coming into you. You have an energy of a 20.
That I do. I have to say, I have to agree with you, because many young people find it difficult to keep up with me. I have to admit, I'm slowing down a little, but I'm also slowing down by choice.
Yeah.
Because I have to give others a chance to also run the race, right?
Hmm. Now it's rapid fire time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Answer whatever comes first in your mind and quick.
Okay.
Okay. One word to describe a Parikrma student.
Positive.
The biggest myth about poverty.
Poverty is not just physical poverty.
Hmm.
Poverty is more the poverty of the mind.
Mind. Wow. Beautiful. Hard work or luck?
If you work hard, you will be lucky.
Your favorite book of all time?
Little Prince.
What does power mean to you?
I don't believe in power as much as empowering.
Hmm.
True power is when you have the ability to empower others.
Well said. The first thing you do when you face a heartburn or setback.
I faced many. I take a breather. I realize one thing is that I'm not a superwoman.
Hmm.
I'm very clear about that. So I say I need to take a breather. So I breathe deep breaths and then say, okay, is this the end? And I tell myself it can't be.
If you could have a 5-minute conversation with your 25-year-old self, what would you say?
Oh, that's so long ago. I would say, I think you're in the right path because you have your heart is in the right place. While we give a lot of credit to the brain and the mind, a real balance of the heart with the mind is what will take you far.
Beautiful. Thank you. I truly loved this conversation. It was beautiful to hear your story, the impact that Parikrama has. It's very inspiring. And I'm sure the audience also would have wonderful takeaways from our conversation. And that's the hope.
Always, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
To influence people. I don't want to use the word inspire,
Mm-hmm.
but influence
Yes.
people and say there's always something out there that is different but is working, ticking, and one should explore.
If you were to close this with one advice for these all the young aspirants out there, the future leaders of today and tomorrow, what would it be?
It's a refrain of what I've been saying all through today is to recognize the power within, that it is possible to do anything that you want to do. I know it sometimes sounds like a little bit of a cliche. Everybody says that, right? So I tell my students, my older students, I say, you've heard a lot about, oh, have big dreams. Everybody talks about dreams. I just tell you, have realistic ambitions.
Mm.
It's very important to have ambition and goalposts and milestones and to tell yourself that you can.
You
You
can.
can. Everything is possible. And that's what I believe in. I
Ah,
mean, who would have thought a school that I started with 165 children become four schools, a college, 2,000 children, 1,700 alumni that are graduating and become, senior in the workforce. Who would have thought we've adopted government schools? I never ever thought we were going to adopt 7 government schools and train 4,000 government school teachers, impact about 65,000 children. That was never the ambition, but it happened organically because I never gave up. So one shouldn't give up.
you can is the motto.
You can is the motto.
That was a wonderful conversation with Shukla, Dr. Shukla Bose, Parikrma Foundation. Not only did we have a chance to bring in the good work that Parikrma is doing, it was wonderful to hear the purposeness, right? That's what you said. I loved that statement that you made. And to connect it with your vision, your personal purpose, your personal impact that you want to create. I had a great takeaway. I'm sure all of you had there. And the lesson that we carry today is you can. When you're connected to your purpose, you can. Thank you, Shukla. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for not only inspiring us, but also being an influence on us. I'm very happy that to have had this conversation. I got validated on the work we do and the purpose and the vision we have. And I'm so happy. And I think I'm so charged up.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for identifying me amongst crowd of people around. So and inviting me to speak to you and your audience. Um, it I enjoyed talking to you because it also gave me an opportunity to remember some of the things that you sort of you take for granted. So thanks so much for giving me this opportunity.
I'm a firm believer that what you seek is also seeking you. And we seek to give, powerful messages to the world out there, to our audience, and to make a positive impact. And and that's what connected us, I guess. And that's what brings us here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. I'm Vijay Sri Parameshwaran, host of the SHE.E.O Effect podcast. Have a good day.